Hi, I'm Chanika Svetvilas. I'm an interdisciplinary artist and also multidisciplinary. I work at the intersection of disability studies and med studies. Specifically, my work focuses on the lived experience of mental health difference. I have a diagnosis of bipolar, and so that informs my work as the subject. And I mine my archive of medication guides and prescription bottles and medical records and medical texts and even things like pharmaceutical ads. And I use that material for my work. So I work in multiple disciplines from collage and drawing to sculpture, installation, and video work. For the Loop residency, during this time, I created charcoal drawings and video and sculptures. The drawings that you will see, the first one here before entering the space, is made with charcoal, and I use charcoal as a transformative material. Charcoal is a substance that is used, actually activated charcoal is used to absorb chemicals in the body, in the system, after a drug overdose. So after your stomach is pumped, charcoal is administered. And I do want to give a content warning because this focuses on mental health. The use of charcoal for me in that case was during a suicide attempt. And so I was administered charcoal. And so it has become an important part of using this medium in my work. And not only because of its transformative nature in terms of the substance, but also that it leaves its mark. I do not try to create perfect charcoal drawings. I like leaving the mark and mistakes and the fingerprints. It shows the process. And it is really a form of resistance as well. So I will enter the space so you can see the drawings.
Awesome.
So this is a virtual gallery space. We will go first to the charcoal drawings. This is the one that was shown first outside in the metaverse. And I often will use the exit backwards because when you are in a behavioral unit, if you're hospitalized, you're often longing for being on the other side of the exit. The figure here is a bipolar sensory neuron. So it's a neuron. It's not related specifically to bipolar as a condition. It's a bipolar neuron because of its shape. So the soma, where the mouth is the cell body, and then the dendrites are the branch, like it's coming off the top of the soma, and then the axons are where the feet are. So the sensory neuron is what guides our senses, so touch and hearing and sight and smell. And the number is the diagnosis number for bipolar, which is written backwards. Benjamin Rush, which shows up sometimes in my drawing, is the father of modern psychology, and he was also known for using bloodletting as a form for multiple ailments. And I also sometimes write in my drawings. And I should also note that Risperdal it's the packaging that's unfolded, which is an antipsychotic. And this writing says, I could not walk, but I could shuffle. I could not talk, but I could mumble. I could not run, but my thoughts raced. I could still breathe. I can still remember, and I will not forget. And that's in relationship to side effects that I experienced that result in those conditions. And then at the bottom it says, I reached for the exit and the nurses held me down. And I will go to the next drawing. Again, you see Benjamin Rush and the exit backwards. This is Haldol, it's another antipsychotic. At the top, it says on a 1 to 10 rating scale, 1 meaning nowhere near their usual level of self, and 10 meaning at their usual level of self functioning or better. My friend or family member is, and then 1 through 10 is listed as a rating. I was given this survey to take when I was visiting a friend in the behavioral unit, and I refused to submit the answer to the question because I didn't want to have that power over my friend. Again, you see the bipolar neuron, and then you also see some design elements that are an echo of Thai design. So Thai design is notable for its Gronok, Kronok, which is a notch and flame design element. So that's what these design elements are from. And then at the bottom, it says, when I refused to take my meds, my psychiatrist said that I would be injected against my will. So I took my meds. And then months later, I would wake up, I would swallow 42 sleeping pills, and then I woke up coughing up charcoal.
Wow.
This next one is another charcoal drawing. The text is from a U.S. Surgeon General's report on relationship between communities of color and mental health. So we're studying the needs of communities of color. So that's what the text is from. And again, you see the exit and then design elements. It does, again, reference the Gronok notch and flame design. What I thought was interesting about this text on this particular page is it notes the Thai culture of Buddhism. And it says that in Thailand, they're noted for their self-control and emotional restraint and social inhibition, and noting Thai children were 2 times more likely than American children to report resilience on covert coping methods, such as not talking back, etc. But I was amused by this because, of course, it's a generalization. And what does it mean to someone like me, who was born and raised in the United States, but has a heritage that is Thai? So I just wanted to note that. And there's a cube there. It's a part of, it's one form of psychiatric test with like different shapes on the cube. So I just thought that was interesting. And I also started thinking about these bipolar neurons in different environments. And I was very struck by the war in Gaza. And so I started this drawing by first collaging from images I downloaded from the internet of hospitals that were, so they're specifically hospitals. And then I incorporated the bipolar neuron. And also, it's in reference to Leah Lakshmi Peepsnad Samara Sina had said that everyone is in Palestine is disabled right now because of the bombing and the trauma and the multi-generational impact, especially on young people and children. And so I had thought about this when I was creating this juxtaposition with the bipolar neuron and the environment. So the first 3, left to right, are all bipolar neurons in amongst buildings, or rather bombed hospitals. They're all hospitals in Gaza. And then the last one is based on the tragedy of Central World Kitchen being bombed. The series of vehicles of volunteers that were delivering aid to Gaza. And so those are downloaded images of the vehicles that were bombed. In the middle one, you can see there's a sign that says Central World Kitchen. And amongst the vehicles are watermelon and other produce that is rotting. Watermelon is often seen as symbolizing Palestine. So I wanted to bring to light the devastation. So it's not, ripe and beautiful fruit. It's actually spoiled, and it relates also to the fact that the food wasn't able to be delivered to Gaza. So that's why I chose the produce that way. And now I'm going to go to the sculpture in the corner. So that's an image of a sculpture. It's called Contained, and at the top is a cage. And then the ribbon that circles around it, printed on it, is that rating scale that I mentioned in my drawing, my charcoal drawing. The 1 to 10 rating scale is printed on there. And in the cage, there's a photograph of me and my mom in a prescription bottle. And coming out of the top is actually a brown doll. and there's a small marigold garland encircling the prescription bottle. And then beneath the cage are more ribbons with the text on it that is dropping down from the cage. There are beads, row of beads that encircle the bottom of the cage. And then there's another marigold garland. So those are, the marigold garlands are given in Thailand as like a form of blessing. And there are also bells, a bell, multiple bells. But then at the end, so there's in the middle from the cage to the tassel is a large black hair braid.
Oh.
And then tied to the bottom of the hair braid is a torn flag and torn Thai textile that is also encircled with more bells. The mirror behind the cage on the wall. So the idea is that the viewer can see themselves in relationship to the sculpture.
Yeah, I remember that you were trying to bring this into loop art critique. It was in experimenting with how to do that. I'm glad to see this piece because I remember it really well. We talked about, I think it was this piece or a piece very similar.
Yes, yeah, it was this piece.
Great, I'm glad to see it. Is it finished now?
Yes, I believe so, although I'm still trying to figure out the best way to hang it. So I might play with the hanging mechanism a little. And then the last piece is a video that I did, and it's called My Mom's Story, and it was recently accepted to Ruthin International Film Festival, so it'll be showing in North Wales this summer. And my mom's story, last year of her life, she had dementia and she passed away in 2019. But despite the dementia, she always found a way to communicate her love. And she had this incredible smile that would engage you. And she was just so affectionate. And she was very creative. She painted and she sewed, she made quilts and she did beading. And although she couldn't do the same kind of detailed work like sewing or beading as her dementia progressed, she could still draw. So I had brought her a dry erase board and markers. And so she would draw on the dry erase board with different markers. And that's captured in this, showing her creativity and also her interaction with my dad. So I happened to capture it on video with my phone. And what I liked about the clip was that the focus is on her, and she is actually the one who is lucid. My dad is the one who's very sleepy and tired and not so cognizant of everything that's happening, because he just wants to sleep. And my mom's wondering how much longer he's going to sleep. And then I captured, like a decade before I filmed her drawing, her aspirations when she was a young child, in an audio clip about her experience of being very proud to read an essay she wrote in front of class, and having this aspiration to be a writer and wanting to work in the Thai embassy so she would have the ability to travel. And it was a way for me to connect to her, so sort of connecting her story to mine, so multi-generation.
I was going to ask you about the sort of the music in it. Where does the music come from?
You want to do? Oh yes, so the music is Thai classical music. So you hear Thai instruments like the ranad and the kim. So they're Thai instruments. There's a lot of percussion in it too. And so my dad would play the Thai music for her when he visited. So it was something that she could relate to. Although she really liked American pop music too.
I love the shots of her drawing. Those are really powerful. Really beautiful. Well, beautiful work. What do you plan to do sort of next? I mean, what do you have another residency you're going for? Is there an exhibit that we can tell people about? Are you gonna jump into the multiverse, both feet in? or are you going to stay physical?
So next is I do have another artist residency. It is called In Seven. It's an experimental video art residency. So basically, it's creating one short film in 7 days, and then it culminates in a drive-in theater screening of everyone's film. So I'm looking forward to that. And as I mentioned, the film that I created during the Loop residency is showing in North Wales at an international film festival in June. And I also have a different film that wasn't done during the residency that's being screened in another film festival called Rest Fest. And then I will be in a group show in the Bronx at Longwood Art Center in January 2025, and I will have a solo show at the Hunterdon Art Museum in Clinton, New Jersey in September 2025.
You are busy. So impressive. Wow. That is so impressive. Well, thank you so much for coming and joining us. I'm going to give you a final clap.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. It was great to meet the other artists and to be exposed to the multiverse. I mean, even though I worked more analog, so to speak, I am very interested in engaging with the multiverse in the future and experimenting more with it, having more time to be with the medium and play with it.